In this recording, I'd like to share how you can return grades once they've been entered into Google Classroom, and you can return them in batches and also have notes to students, feedbacks to students in kind of pre-thought through batches, depending on what you've seen as you've graded a class work. So I have graded poetry project. Students have turned in a hard copy of that project, but we've also entered the scores in Infinite Campus. You can see that some of them are marked turned in, some of them have not, but I can still provide them with a grade. And now I'm ready to get those grades in Google Classroom back to the students. So what I want to start with is I want to start by selecting a batch of grades. My grades range in this class from 2.5 all the way to 4. I just have one 2.5 score in this class, so I'm going to return that student's work. As I return that student's work, I'm going to return even though it's unsubmitted, and then it allows me, whether it's one student or a dozen students, to submit some feedback in a batch. So I'm going to provide this student who got a 2.5. Some of the things I saw in his work and in other classes in the 2.5 all are essentially the same. So I'm going to say some good work shown, but done with haste and missing some elements of assignment. And I'm going to return that assignment to that student. Um, Now you can see that I provided a private comment to another student who also turned in work. She received a slightly higher grade, but I wanted her to have some additional feedback so I could also have the ability to do that. Now I'm going to look through my assignments and I'm going to select all my scores of 3. I'm just going to kind of quickly look through, select all my scores of 3, including the student we're looking at now, Kaylin. Um, and here's another 3, Cole. Few more 3.5s. There's another 3. Um, and I have already thought through the kind of feedback I want to share with those students. Some students have received some individual feedback that I want them to particularly know. And then I'm going to return in batch. And so I'll return these assignments and provide each of these students with some feedback. So as a 3, based on what I saw with almost all of my students, I'm going to say, nice job, good poems, spell that correctly, good poems and artwork could have included more figurative, make sure I spell that right, language, somewhat hastily done. So I can let the students know kind of in batch there that they did a nice job, but could have done a little bit better. I'm going to return that as well. And now I'm moving on to scores of 3.5. So I've got these students here who have all received scores of 3.5. These are all graded, so I'm kind of getting lower on my list. Here's a few more, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5. A bulk of my students did receive that as a score. And now I'm ready to return those scores. So I will tell them as a group, return, and one comment to rule them all, so to speak. Good job. Fun poems and artwork. Could have included just a bit more figurative language and return. And then I'm at my students who received a 4. You can see that here I've got an individual comment on Brendan Paul already. He did some extra work after I asked him to redo some things. He did do, and it ended up doing a great job. And I wanted to let him know that I appreciated his extra efforts. just reviewing to make sure I've gotten all the fours. Is there another one I missed there? A couple more. So I want to make sure that I get them all. And you can see I still have some students who have yet to turn this assignment in, but most of them have completed it. And now I can return these assignments. So I'll return and give these students some bulk feedback as well. Well done! Exclamation mark. Excellent. Poems with complete figurative language. Did I misspell figurative? Let's see here. Did complete figurative language and nice artwork. Time and care show pride in your work. And return that. All right, and all the rest of my students have not yet turned in their assignments. Looks like I have something here I'm going to have to correct for Misha because she hasn't turned this in yet, so I'll edit this particular thing. Okay, save that. And I'll be moving on now. So thank you, and we'll return to our rest of our presentation.